place that I've been. Well, I know for sure ain't no place left for you to hide. Look out.
gracious, and thank you very much.
Backwards of America, and live from the G&D Show studio, this is your GhostMan and Demon Hunter show.
Doesn't that sound exciting to you?
Into these hollow eyes, hoping for the trace of life, things so you won't feel alone. I am broken, I'm diseased, haunted by these memories.
Welcome back, listeners around the world. Thanks for joining us, guys. It's Sunday night, and this is your home for the mystifying Oracle of Radio, your GhostMan and Demon Hunter show.
Are we back to that? Are we mystifying?
Hey!
You have the broken magic 8-ball out again, Sean.
I almost crushed that intro, and I couldn't find the sound button to lower our intro music. I was trying. Hey, I was messing.
Ladies and gentlemen, professionalism at its best.
It is. It is. I was pumped up on coffee, man. I was trying to. I was trying to do the. I was trying to get the start to the chat room. I was trying to get back in it, and Scary Jerry was over the house today. We watched IU. Big props to IU guys going to the Sweet 16. But he came over. We watched the ball game, and I got logged into my own chat room for once. And it looks like I just got logged in. I posted something, and now it bounced me back out. So, hey guys, I was in there. I am watching. So,
Chrissy P was telling me that she was either getting bumped out or we were getting knocked off or something. That could be due to the fact that you are sitting in the middle of a blizzard right now, Sean.
I am. We got a blizzard, guys, coming into beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana. It's rolling through, and they had said, Demon Hunter, now let's check this out. They had said in March, end of March here in Indiana, 12 inches by tomorrow morning.
Really?
Yeah, really. 12 inches by tomorrow. That's okay. The GhostMan will push on. I got at least a rick of wood left for the fireplace.
A rick. What is the measurement that equals a rick, Sean?
I can't tell you exactly. Google it, everybody. I got both my computers tied up right now. I can't Google everything.
I mean, I've heard of a cord.
Yeah.
That's how I used to always.
You never heard of a rick of wood?
A rick of wood.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I can't say I've ever heard of a rick of wood.
Maybe that's a Hoosier term.
Rick of Schroeder and
a rick of scrotum. A rickopotamus. Magic 8-ball.
Oh.
A rick of scrotum. No, I've never heard of. That must be something you New Englander types out there.
You don't use a cord?
I don't use a cord. No.
See, we use a cord of wood out here.
That's
that is equal to. Well, I don't know the exact measurements of it, but I can usually fill it. A cord of wood fills about a truck and a half load on a back of a truck. You know, it's a pickup truck. Kind of.
Really? So, well, maybe we do. Maybe no. I'm not that big of a farmer. I'm a city kid, man. I'm a city kid. So, you know, I just learned what a rick was like 3 years ago, you know? That's what we do. That's what I know it burns, right?
Oh, that's
inconceivable.
Right.
Oh man, actually, a cord of wood.
Yeah.
It's a equal volume to 128 cubic feet.
128 cubic feet. This is like one of those episodes of This Old House or something. Tool time. This is Tool time. This is your host, GhostMan Demon Hunter. And what nails would you use to nail that up there, Demon Hunter? Huh?
A cord of wood? I would not. I would not nail wood. A cord of wood up, Sean.
You wouldn't?
I don't think so, Sean.
Oh, we got a hot show tonight, Demon Hunter. We got a lot of stuff. Hey, man, we've been having a stellar year so far for the G&D show. Huh?
We really have.
It has been
with you for once, Sean. Go with it.
See, I know. I'm speechless. We both agreed at the same time. So, I mean, we've been having one of those times where exactly our guests have been absolutely, positively top shelf. You know it?
And it's not going to stop, folks. Trust us. I have actually been contacted by people who have been on our show in the past, saying, when can I get back on the show? Right. You guys are back on the air. Bring me back on. And folks are kind of booked up right now.
We are. We're filling up fast. We got we're filling up really fast, but we got the roster. It never seems to be written down because Nate and I.
And the funny thing is, it's not like we can actually tell you who and when we're going to have on shows because we just have agreements that they're going to come on in a certain amount of time.
Right.
And as soon as we can fit them in, we do because we're that. What happened, Sean? We went away for a little while. We come back, and now everybody loves the G&D show.
Everybody got excited. We went away. They didn't know what they had. We got back, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, those guys were kicking A." I can say kicking A. Kicking A. You like that? You were getting ready to write down the time when you.
What are you trying to prove? You already said scrotum.
Magic broken 8-ball. It's still broken. Why couldn't it fix itself? If a magic 8-ball... Hey, Google this right now, Demon Hunter. Or listeners around the world, who are the creators of the magic 8-ball? Huh? That's a good, think about it. That would be a good topic, Demon Hunter. If you believe in the Ouija board, why wouldn't you believe in a magic 8-ball? Oh, look, it actually, hold on. I got something to come up here. It says, concentrate and ask again.
Albert C. Carter.
Albert C. Carter.
It did not exist in its current form until 1950 when it was invented by Albert C. Carter.
And you know what? It just said without a doubt. Without a doubt, Demon Hunter.
I'll tell you, it's just like that Ouija board you liked.
Well, Albert C. Carter must be in China because it says it was made there. By Mattel. By Mattel, actually. Well, Mattel, I'm sending out a complaint right now. My 8-ball's broken. Look, it went back to black again. I can't see nothing. That's cheap. It's like it doesn't have the fluid inside of it or whatever. It's not too... If it's that magic, couldn't it fix itself?
Well, there's a question to be had there, Sean. Can magic heal or can it only destroy? See?
There's a title, my friend.
Get all the fuzzy white lighter witches sending us hate mail saying, of course magic can heal.
Magic 8-ball will heal me. I bet you anything if you look up the Sun Times. Or was it the Sun newspaper? Or the, what was it, Demon Hunter? What was the crazy papers? The Sun.
Let's just call it the Sun.
Let's just call it the Sunshine. Yeah, we get the paper, and me and Nate used to read the stories out because they're awesome, the tabloids. Usually 50% of the story, at least half of it, maybe 30%. There's some truth to it, you know. Maybe if a lady has 2 heads, I don't know. She was wearing a motorcycle helmet or something like that, you know, and somebody thought she had 2 heads. But there's usually some kind of truth around the story. That's what I'm trying to get at, Demon Hunter. But what I was saying is, what were we talking about?
I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. It's ADD Radio, brought to you by the GhostMan and Demon Hunter Show. That's right, ADD Radio, brought to you by your ADDJs, GhostMan.
No, hold on. We were talking about the Magic 8-ball, and then I went off on a riff on reading the news stories.
No,
I said, that's right, let me go back. Not a riff, a riff. You're trying to mess me up. If we go back and we looked at the articles that we've read, I'm sure over time we've read one about a Magic 8-ball killing somebody.
You know what? The comments of Sean Burris do not represent Hunter or their affiliates. I do not want Mattel suing us, Sean. It's
Mattel. This is what I think about. This is what I think about them. Because they ruined my Magic 8-ball. So Mattel, you owe me whatever it was, $10. They're like $10, man.
You know, you and I enjoy going out and hunting down urban legends.
Urban legends.
We do. It's one of those things that we do. We're not just like ghost hunters like you've seen on TV, folks. Sean and I will hunt down almost any story to find the truth out behind it.
And never pass up a pub.
And never pass a pub while we're doing it. You know, there's a lot of people with good information inside those pubs.
That's right.
You'd sit down and drink a beer with them, you might just get something out of them.
Research, Demon Hunter.
That's it. Sean puts in for thousands of dollars a year for his bar tabs on his taxes.
See?
It's all research.
It's research.
But,
show research.
One of the things that I actually had affect me this week was an urban legend.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Demon Hunter. Go ahead. I missed another segment of the show. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt your thought.
Okay, well, should we step back and come back to my urban legend?
No, don't, because ADD, remember, you're going to lose it. Go ahead and do this one, then we'll go back.
Thank you very much. Well, basically what happened was I was at work talking to somebody and saying how, the floor had to be cleaned, and I'd go grab a Swiffer.
Okay.
Said, well, we certainly hope you don't have cats at home because the Swiffers kill your pets. You know, the Swiffer wet jets.
Are you kidding me?
They said that they're fatal to pets, and I said, really, that can't be true. I've been using it for years. And I came home and told my wife, Chrissy P., and she got all upset because we've been using it. We have 3 cats in the house.
So you came home and Chrissy's holding the dead cat by the tail with the Swiffer?
It's very upsetting.
Hey, I didn't see that in a late-night Swiffer commercial.
Not at all, anywhere. But it turns out it's an urban legend.
Urban.
All you folks at home thinking that the Swiffer will kill your pets, this is what I recently found on the ASPCA website.
Don't be a moron.
Response to a letter is Swiffer wet jet safe to use around dogs? Mm-hmm. the question, but in pets in general.
Yeah.
The answer was Swiffer wet jet products do not contain cleaning agents in large enough quantities to be a serious hazard for pets.
Okay.
Several years ago, an urban legend was spread that the content toxins were antifreeze and would kill dogs. The rumor completely unfounded. Our toxicology experts evaluated the products and determined it doesn't contain ethanol, glyco, or any kind of antifreeze. So it is not harmful to your home or your pets. Like any product, however, it is important to read the label, instructions, and avoid unnecessary exposure. So, see that?
Inconceivable!
I do.
You know, just one of those things. Obviously, you don't want your pet coming over and licking the stuff off the floor.
No.
So, you know, you wouldn't give them bleach either, folks. It's
Right.
But he uses that to clean. But it's the idea that it causes kidney failure or will kill your pets or it absorbs through their paws. Urban legend. So go back to using your Swiffers, folks. It's fine. It's safe. And you heard it here on the Ghostman and Demon Hunter show. Loss
of bowel control. I must add a Swiffer sweeper there. Anyway, Demon Hunter.
I think you need to do some cleaning in that studio of yours, Sean. It sounds like it would smell in there.
Demon Hunter.
Yes.
Thank the listeners around the world. This is the Ghostman and Demon Hunter show. You're welcome. We are back on the air, right, Demon Hunter?
Oh, that's right. That's right. We got to thank everybody.
Yes. Listeners around the world. Hey, everybody in chat. We love you. Huh? What's that?
Yeah, talking, but they're not coming up on my on the side where I can see their names, so I can't tell you who's in chat and who's not.
Okay, guys. Demon Hunter.
Sean.
Tonight's guest. You ready for it? Don Wildman, detective, adventurer. Some say he's the real-life Indiana Jones and host of the Travel Channel's Mysteries at the Museum, guys. He's been all over the place. He's actually hosted Weird Travels, Off Limits, and many, 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 many more things. I think he actually worked on ESPN as well. We're going to have him in studio tonight. He's been all around the world checking out all different kinds of mysteries. Been underground, up ground, above ground, and in the air.
Ground, in the sky.
We're going to get the real story tonight from Don Wildman when he stops by from the Travel Channel, Mysteries at the Museum. Huh?
I think you need to start watching what you eat, man.
Did I nail that, Demon Hunter?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Nailed it to the wall.
You know, folks, if I sound like I'm a little bit more mellow this evening than usual, it may be because last week Sean and I were doing an incredible show with Michael Ricker of The Walking Dead. Rooker. Sorry. That's part of my problem, is I can't really speak today. Shortly after that show, I started feeling a little ill the next day. You know, I went in to make sure I hadn't been bitten by a zombie, something was going wrong. Turns out I had bronchitis, which quickly turned into pneumonia. Despite the fact that, just a few days ago, I was lying unconscious, healing up that way, I am here tonight with my buddy Sean, my brother, my friend, my co-host to do the show, but I don't have my usual smoking accoutrement. I cannot smoke a cigar or my pipe tonight because I can't smoke. I have pneumonia. So I'm a little off my game, I think, Sean, and I get agitated very, very, very easily.
Well, you'll get back. You'll get back in your game.
I still want to send my thanks out to the folks over at Butthead's Tobacco Emporium, because I do have an e-cigarette that I'm using thanks to them to get through tonight.
They gave you an e-cigarette at Butthead's and Tobacco?
Blue cigarette, B-L-U cigarette. It's an e-cigarette. I inhale vapor with a touch of nicotine in it, and it's getting me by without committing any horrible crimes due to the anxiety.
You know, I have seen those, Demon Hunter, and I think I actually tasted one. I actually took one, and it's not the same, yeah?
It's not the same. You don't get quite the flavor. You don't get the head rush of breathing in smoke, obviously.
Right.
But you do get the nicotine, and it.
Don't get out, man. Don't get out, man.
No, it contains nothing like that.
Toke it up, man. Toke it up. Yeah, but that's cool. You're still going to Buttheads, and they give us absolutely no money for the
None whatsoever.
as many times as
But,
we mentioned them on the show.
Since we've gotten this far, isn't it about that time we start talking about stuff that's going on in the news?
In the news, it's hot, guys. It's fresh. It's wild. It's entertaining. It's the Ghostman and Demon Hunter Show newscast, and it starts right
now. So I guess it's up to me to start the news this week, Sean.
Yeah. Because I got to go read it. Hold on, guys. I'm really into my story here. Nathan, you lead.
Well, let's start with the fact that...
well, hold on. This is coming straight off the presses, Demon Hunter. That's why I'm not ready yet. I'm reading it.
I know. I got it to you just today. I know. But it turns out prosecutor sees Punxsutawney Phil pushing up daisies for forecast fraud.
Yes.
This comes to us from... Let's see who it comes from. It comes from NBC News. Yes, that's right. It's real news, folks.
WNBC.
Tracy Connor, staff writers at NBC News, an Ohio prosecutor says that Punxsutawney Phil should be should not be predicting the weather.
No.
And if so, he should be doing it from 6 feet under. With tongue placed firmly in cheek, Michael Gumser, the prosecuting attorney for Butler County, filed papers this week indicating that indicting the world-famous groundhog for misrepresentation of an early spring and announcing his intent to seek the death penalty.
Okay.
This is a groundbreaking indictment. I get it, groundhog, groundbreaking. Okay. Gumser said Friday as he fielded phone calls from around the world about the light-hearted legal battle. There's a lot of people who want a piece of him. I know because I'm getting recipes from all around the country.
Okay.
On February 2nd, Phil forecast an early spring when he emerged from his Punxsutawney home and did not see his shadow. 6 weeks later, Gumser looks out his window to snow, high winds, and frigid air. I said to someone, Phil let us down. I ought to indict the little rascal. They said, why don't you?
Yeah.
And I said, I think I will, the prosecutor told us. He said he had to seek the ultimate penalty because otherwise the indictment would have no teeth.
Yeah.
Phil, right now, is in jail, behind bars, serving a life sentence. Because of that, there's nothing left for Phil but the death penalty, Gumser said. He was laughing, but sadly, not everyone got the joke. Frankly, I have received a number of phone calls from people who think this is a serious story, he said. It's a spoof. We do some real serious work regarding rape, murder, mayhem, and it's something to lighten the spirits of the folks around here.
It's hard hitting.
Oh. Phil could not be reached for comment.
Where was PETA at all this? They're talking about killing. Huh?
I bet you PETA will be in the courtroom.
Somebody needs blood smeared on him, folks. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about killing Pokey Tonky, the gopher or whatever. Yeah.
Phil could not be reached for comment, but Jeffrey Lundy, vice president of the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club, said there is no chance of extradition. He is going to have to get through 15 licensed hunters to get to Phil.
They're not going to extradite, huh?
No.
They will not be able to get anybody to press these charges. It will not happen. It will not.
Judge will actually, the people ask me all the time, can they sue you over that? You can sue somebody for anything.
Anything.
But chances are, when it gets to the judge, if there's not a precedent for it, it's just going to get thrown out. Yeah. And I don't see a precedent for killing a groundhog in court.
No, I don't either. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't.
Sorry, folks. Phil got away with it.
He got away. Well, they can't do that, Demon Hunter. In good conscience, they can't take the fat little groundhog, and they can't nail him to the wall if they're not going to take out every weather reporter man across the nation. Because there was an old joke said...
Tell me one weather reporter who did worse than Phil this year.
All of them. They're
exactly.
Crazy. Hey, are we saving this Bomb A Zombie A story? Didn't know.
Bomb A Zombie A story. No, that's for you, man. You can use it right now if you like.
There it is, guys. Since we've been on the zombie kick, since The Walking Dead has 2 more episodes left, and we've been doing the zombie stuff, and we've had a lot of support from those guys. We'll get into that later. This bomb shelter, guys, could be yours for $499. Oh my God, is this true? Is this true, Demon Hunter, or is this make-believe?
No, this is true for $499,500.
Oh my God, I wonder what the taxes would be on that. $499,000. I didn't even see the 500. I just thought I seen the 499. Well, I guess the 500 is the.
You thought it was $499.50.
That's what I thought. I seen the 499. I thought, well, no, I knew it was $49.99. Anyway, man, hey, there's this place out there. You can have it for $499,500. Of course, it's an atomic bomb shelter. It says there was little to no chance a bomb would be dropped in Fort Pierce, Florida in 1967 during the Cold War, but that didn't stop 30-inch thick steel reinforced concrete from being poured in the middle of St. Lucie County. The result was a bomb shelter designed to keep people alive for 30 days. Now it's on the market for $499,500 and attracting all kinds of buyers, many who hope to make it the ultimate man cave. It's something out of an old Japanese Godzilla movie, says Hoyt C. Murphy Jr., the listing agent for the property. It was built to withstand the big blast. Unlike a fallout shelter that protects from radioactive debris, the main purpose of this building was to protect from shockwaves. Upon entering the bunker, decontamination showers greet visitors and lead into a massive room with 17-foot-high ceilings. Huh?
Right there, you won't buy it, Sean, because it's hard enough to get you to take a shower if you had to shower every time you came through the door.
See? That's it. That would ruin the whole thing. For Murphy says the original design plans were recently discovered, showing how the property was rigged with 200 kilowatt generators, massive air intake tunnels, and custom ventilation system. Now, a lot of people are saying this is the perfect thing, perfect place for a zombie attack, Demon Hunter. And of course, I believe, if you guys see this picture, look it up. Bomb shelter in Port Pierce, Florida, guys, for sale. Now, if you look it up, it'll show you. I mean, this place is solid concrete. And, of course, it's going to give you the jump start. But don't you remember the episode of, when they went to the CDC on The Walking Dead? I mean, even that place, sooner or later, you run out of juice.
You run out of juice and you run out of supplies.
You run out of juice, you run out of supplies. There is no safe route when it comes to zombies, I'm afraid.
The only way to be able to survive the zombie apocalypse is to be able to defend yourself.
Zombie apocalypse. That's it. You have to do it, man. You have to be able to defend yourself. You have to. Let's stop with the news for 1 second, Demon Hunter, because I wanted to add something. I watched last night. I paid $6 or whatever on pay-per-view. You guys can go check it out tonight or whatever. Just don't do it now while we're on the air. But it was
HD Radio.
Yeah, My Amityville Horror. That new you've heard about this?
Yes.
It's a new documentary. Apparently it's the son, Danny Lutz, the stepson, of course, of George Lutz, and the real son of Kathy Lutz. And there's a lot of speculation as to why this came out. None of it from me or Nathan, but I watched it because I'm a true fan of the Amityville Horror. I'm a fan of hauntings in general, and I love the story of a place more than the authenticity of it. I think, we need those stories and things like that. So I watched this, Demon Hunter. I watched this story, and that I paid $7 to watch on pay-per-view. And, I guess it's out in the independent films, too, wherever they're showing the indie films. But I got to see Danny Lutz for the first time. And, we got some friends in this community that had known George before he passed. George Lutz, of course, being the main player in the movies, the Amityville Horror and stuff. He was the father figure. He wasn't the actor, but he was the actor was based on the role, what happened with George. And they've had so many different stories, and 90% of it was Hollywood, but there was some truth to it. And it was interesting, Demon Hunter, because...
Like George said, when they wrote the book, they times what happened by 10. When they wrote the movie, they times that by 100. You know, it's... That's what you expect.
Now, there's going to be a lot of controversy come out about this, because the paranormal, as well as any, and this is what the paranormal is, it's just another members group. You know, you get a bunch of people together, and they get together and they think, we don't want you here. This is our group, and this is the way you do things. Now, that's what the paranormal's become. So there's going to be a huge thing. There's going to be people, just like with our show. There's going to be haters, and the world's never short of hater. Right, Demon Hunter?
Oh, no, never. Never.
No. And everybody has an opinion, right? It's 50 cents, right? What do they say? Dime a dozen, right? Dime a dozen for opinion.
Dime a dozen.
And usually I don't want to hear any of them, and I'm in radio, so that's a bad thing. But I did watch this, and I watched it with interest. And Danny seemed like a really nice guy. He seemed like had a lot of animosity towards George Lutz. Had a lot of stuff.
I understand we couldn't read anything from the show here tonight because it would just pretty much have been one line of exploit deleted.
Very powerful wording used in it. No,
nice
Danny's
way of saying that, Sean. Nice way of saying that.
Right. Danny's just a very outspoken dude. He's not a superstar. The poor guy, said the way he says it, he had a regular all-American life, and he had this thing thrown at him when he was young, and he confirms a lot of the stuff, the getting thrown around the house, demonic possession. I don't know how much we can talk about, because they want to sell the movie or whatever. But at the end of the day, you still have to take what the individual says at face value. You either do or you don't.
Exactly. I mean, everything is the perception of what happened.
Right. And I can't spoil it for you, but I wish I could. I'll give you guys a week or so to watch it. But there was something in there at the end I'll tell you about. I did tell you about last night, Demon Hunter. And it was very peculiar at the end. It was one of those dun-dun-dun kind of things.
I've often told you, like, that I believe in the theory of keyhole spirits, but if you get the right person who acts as a key in the right location, which is the keyhole, it can open a whole lot of stuff up. But,
sure.
But even me, I've looked at stuff at Amityville over the years that have made me go, like the famous picture of the little boy looking over the counter, the ghost boy over the stairs.
Yes.
Looks an awful lot like one of the investigators to me. And if you stop thinking of it as a child and look at it as an adult, all of a sudden it kind of looks like your brain switches and you say, I can see that more as that person than a ghost.
Sure. Sure. And, you're looking back at people, and, of course, Nathan's talking about the famous picture. If you guys don't know what it is, look it up, AmityvilleHorror.com or Amityville Pictures, whatever. You'll find it. It looks like a child. To me, it looks like a 13, 14, 15-year-old looking around a corner. And his eyes, of course, were white, which
could have been eyeglasses.
I wouldn't say eyeglasses, but it could have been anything, right?
Well, I mean, like I'm saying, if it was taken with an infrared camera, so if he was wearing eyeglasses, they would have reflected. Sure.
And but it didn't look like a devil child or anything other than that. And what shocks me is people were so amazed that there was no children in the house. They were just animated about it. Lorraine Warren. A bunch of people, and I have nothing against Lorraine Warren or the Warrens. I've heard they've done great work over the years. Never met them, but I have great respect for anybody that puts
don't move in the same circles.
Yeah, I know nothing about them other than what I've heard, so I don't want to speak on anything. But they seem like real nice people. Lorraine seems like a sweet grandmother figure, and and of course they were made famous, I think, or in my opinion, from the Amityville case. And I know that's probably disrespectful to them, and I mean no disrespect, because they had done this stuff for years. Right, Demon Hunter? You know more about that than me. And, but they do. They talk to Lorraine. They go to her house. She's a sweetheart, and, she looks very, sympathetic to Danny's story. Mm-hmm. And I guess she was very sympathetic to what had happened there at the house. And in a lot of haunting situations, a lot of people aren't going to believe you, period. That's just the way of the world, because they haven't seen it. So, Anyway, I would say definitely check out Danny's movie, My Amityville Horror. It's worth a shot. There's going to be a lot of controversy out of this one, folks.
How was you're into filming now, Sean. How was the filming and everything like that? Was it done well?
You can definitely tell that it was done with a higher budget than what I have. But every editor, and that's what I am, I love to edit film. Every editor thinks he could do a little bit better job, but I really like the darkness of the... They really went for the isolation effect with Danny sitting at the table, dark back scene, very dark, almost like Danny speaking in the dark chambers of his own mind kind of setting, and that's what you're looking at. So it's a lot of it, man, why are you making me tell you this? I don't want to relive it. I lived this horror all my life. I can't. And you know what, Demon Hunter, I got to tell you, growing up in a haunted house, nothing like Amityville, but growing up in a haunted house, there is things that I remember to this day that stand out in my head. And, every once in a while, I'm not scared. Well, I mean,
not you.
Everyone gets scared, right? But every once in a while, you'll feel a cold breeze, or you see something on TV, or you're walking down the street alone, or you're doing something. And then that moment will hit me back from when I was a kid, right?
Right.
So what do they call that? Repressed memory, or?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a repressed memory, and it'll sneak forward, and it is something, because it's something that you've seen and you can't erase because it was so extraordinary, yeah?
Well, you got to remember, too, Sean, that repressed memories can be brought on by anything, a smell, something like that, but you've also had years.
Yeah.
Think about those things and let them sit in the back of your subconscious. And then when you try to remember them, they're never quite the same as it actually happened. So
that's it. Yeah, your mind tends to fill in the gaps. Especially in a very traumatic situation from 30 years ago, or whatever. It's going to try to fill in the gaps, and you don't know where those gaps are getting filled from. But anyway, guys, My Amityville Horror was what I checked out last night. It's how I spent my night. I was texting Nathan. Got to check it out, guys. Go ahead and check it out. If you're a big avid fan of the Amityville Horror stuff, you want to be sure to check this out and take from it what you will, and Nathan and me, we love hauntings. We love everything strange and weird, and this is directly, if you love the story like we do, you grew up on it.
Yeah.
You're going to love this.
It was always that book in the school library that was always out. Mm-hmm. You never get it, because the second it returned, somebody else took it out.
What got me, though? And I'm not speaking ill of George Lutz or Kathy Lutz, nothing like that, because people have to pay the bills, man. And we know a lot of people that travel in the Paracircle and Paracircuit, if you don't mind, and they make a buku amount of money off this. They make enough money where they don't have to work. Or they do work, but they don't work traditionally blue-collar stuff. They travel around, tell their stories, and speak, and blah, 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 blah. So, what gets me, if I have such a huge traumatic experience, and clearly I don't want to share it, because when Kathy Lutz and George Lutz first come out, Demon Hunter, they were saying, hey, man, we just want this gone. We want Satan out of our heads and out of our home. We want to be normal people.
Oh, yeah, destroyed their lives.
Yeah, obliterated their lives. So the next couple months later, they were on their first world tour, talking about the subject matter of the Amityville hauntings. So, and I can't, that might be right or wrong either, man. Maybe that was a way that they were dealing with it.
Maybe you can't tell.
You can't tell that.
There are people out there who are going to hear this and say, "What are you talking about? It was fake." Well, it could have been fake. I'm not the one. I wasn't there.
No.
That's history. Like it or not, the Amityville Horror is now part of American history, and it happened whether you believe it or not.
It is.
It's in our history, and you can either walk away from it saying, "I believe," I don't believe," or I don't know. And not one person who wasn't there, who's alive today, can tell you what happened. Only the people who were there, and that's all we have to go by. That's
it. And you have to take that at face value, that these people aren't fabricating this great story. Because it's just one of those things where it's like, why would they? How could they? Why? But they could have done it for this. They could have done it for that. Man, everybody's going to get involved because of the claims. It is what it is, man. But you know what? And the bottom line at the end of the day is one heck of a freaky story. And I love that kind of thing, little brother.
Hey, one more news story before we go on to anything else tonight.
Yes, we are at 18 minutes. 18
Yep. So we've got this. I'm only reading this one because it's a brand new news story. Happened 6 hours ago. Just came in. A new sinkhole in the same town in Florida where a man was killed.
Okay.
You know, that's not a huge title, but it comes from Brian Hamacher from NBC Miami.
You could have jazzed it up a little bit.
Yeah, you could have, But just weeks after a sinkhole swallowed a Florida man, killing him in his sleep in his Suffner home, another sinkhole has opened between two houses in the same town. The latest sinkhole appeared in the 1400 block in Lakeshore Ranch Drive around 7 p.m. Saturday. It's estimated to be about 6 feet in diameter and 10 feet deep, according to the WFLA. Both homes on either side of the hole were evacuated as a precaution. Seffner is the town where 37-year-old Jeff Bush. Wow, that's a familiar name in Florida. 37-year-old Jeff Bush was swallowed in a sinkhole.
Okay.
That completely demolished his bedroom 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
5 others were in the house who escaped unharmed. The sinkhole is estimated to be 20 foot wide and 20 feet deep in the house that was later demolished.
Okay.
The only reason I bring this up is I grew up in a town with sinkholes. And these things are crazy. I mean, I remember driving, because the town I grew up in, Newton, New Jersey, is built on a lime deposit.
Oh.
And water floods in, and the lime deposit is on top of an underground lake.
Okay.
So the lime gets wet, it starts to break down, and then it just collapses, and the ground above just sinks down in. I remember going to school one day, and our playground was gone. Years later, I went back to the town to check the property out that my family was selling, and the baseball field next door had sunk into the ground. Literally overnight, this just sinks down, goes, like it's saying, 20 feet deep, easy, destroys everything around it. And the thing that gets me about it is, a few years back, there were similar type sightings of these like 8-foot wide holes and things like that.
Right,
and people were starting to say, was it an asteroid? Was it is it underground reptilian?
Funny, queer.
Exactly. And all I could think was, it's a sinkhole, folks. And but I basically gave this out as a warning for people to watch out for sinkholes. What can I say? It's not an exciting story. It's not bizarre, but it does happen. So when you're looking to buy your next house, ask the real estate broker, have there been sinkholes in this area?
You know, that's very queer how that happened, that story.
Not funny, funny, queer.
Much like my co-host.
Now, I'm talking about funny. So,
I know.
funny. I'm very funny co-host. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know. Okay, Demon Hunter. What's next, baby brother? I believe that is the.
I believe we should be hearing from a friend of ours now.
I believe we should. Here we go, folks.
Hi, this is Matt Oak from the Zombie Research Society, and here's your weekly update from the G&D Zombie Alert System. Now back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Matt Moak. Of course, Matt Moak from The Talking Dead.
That's right, folks. It's time once again for the G&D Zombie Advisory, brought to you by Midnight Syndicate and the Zombie Research Society.
Oh.
Just a reminder that this is not a joke. Each week, the GhostMan and Demon Hunter show checks reports of outbreaks from the CDC, chemical spills from NOAA, and keyword searches on news sites around the world using combinations like bite and attack, plus much more, to bring you the most up-to-date information that could lead to a zombie apocalypse.
Zombies.
Although we are all worried about the dead rising from the grave, which is included in our weekly search, we also watch for information that could lead to infections that could cause zombie-like attacks. This week, we have good news. There have been no reports in the news of attacks that include victims being bitten in over 30 days.
Right.
The CDC has only reported outbreaks of salmonella brought on by chicken and ground beef in the month of March. And NOAA has reported 3 oil spills, 4 potential oil spills, 1 grease and lube oil spill. I left that one in just for you, Sean. 1 liquid fertilizer spill, and 2 spills including crude oil, salt water, and production water, which is where they use water to drill, and natural gas. No biological contaminants reported, and unknown or dangerous chemicals.
Okay.
Despite the fact that there is still an ammunition shortage in the U.S. that is right now starting to affect even law enforcement, and the U.S. government wants to purchase another 1.6 billion rounds over the next 4 to 5 years, which will only make the shortage worse. This only means that those of us who truly want to be prepared will have to try a little harder. For this and all the other reasons mentioned, we will be, for the first time since we started the zombie alert system, be setting the zombie advisory to green, low. So folks,
low.
Take a breath. What do you think of that, Sean?
I'm scared. I'm no longer scared. This is good, Demon Hunter. Like you said, since we started this was your brainchild.
That's right.
Because after having our good friend Matt Moak, and special thanks to Matt Moak from the Talking Dead and the Zombie Research Society for doing that little bit. He loves us so much. We love you too, Matt. You guys can check out Matt tonight after The Walking Dead. He'll be on The Talking Dead, and he does, what is that, Demon Hunter? Zombie Advisory of the Week? He does his own, or?
No. He was actually impressed with ours, because he does not do one.
He does not!
Yeah.
Well, he does something on The Walking Dead.
Well, he gives zombie updates on what to do in case of a zombie apocalypse.
I see, said the blind man. Yeah, but anyway, this is great. You got this system out here, and a good thing, too, because the snow's falling in Indiana, so everything would be a little bit slower if you were running from the undead. Yep. But Demon Hunter, we are at the 10-minute mark, and our favorite show is getting ready to come up later on tonight at 7 p.m., or I'm sorry, at 9 p.m. Eastern.
So that leads us into...
Rot Talk! G&D style! Rot Talk! We gotta record a voiceover.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we tell you that if you do not want to know anything that's already happened on The Walking Dead... or don't want any hints or tips... or our personal feelings of what might happen, could happen, or we think will be happening in upcoming episodes, then close your ears, put your hands over your head, stuff a pillow around your face, get earplugs, go la 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 la, because we're not going to stop. This is your one and only spoiler alert, folks. We will be talking about The Walking Dead.
Try to breathe, though, Demon Hunter. If you don't tell them to breathe, they might cover their head, and we'll be responsible for
pneumonia, so, I mean, how am I going to really breathe?
Hey, does this smell like chloroform? That's a pickup line for ladies, actually.
I understand that's how you met your girlfriend.
Yes, actually, it's...
9 months later, you had a beautiful daughter.
Oh. Are we going to... Rot Talk.
Rot Talk. Here we are. See, I don't have... I'm running slow. I don't have my nicotine in me, Sean. Rot Talk. So tell me, if you're the... I mean, we're both Walking Dead fans. But you make me look like nothing when it comes to the Walking Dead fans. I mean...
What, I look like nothing? Like the Walking Dead fan?
I look like nothing compared to you as a Walking Dead fan. You are much more in tune with the Walking Dead.
Well, so are you. We watch it every Sunday night. We actually adjusted our time frames. But anyway, guys, last week... I think half the Walking Dead Nation was joining the G&D Nation. We had Michael Rooker in studio. I mean, Mike was telling us some serious stuff, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He was telling us about the script and everything before people didn't even know that, like, the bike, you see Norman Reedus, which plays Daryl Dixon on the Walking Dead, that's not his bike. That was Merle's bike. Remember that, Demon Hunter?
And he liked to point that out. That is. I wonder if Merle leaves if he leaves the group, if he'll take the bike with him.
You know, it is very curious, and we got some more surprises to the G&D Nation coming up real soon, guys. So stay tuned. But I was real surprised at how fast we got Mikey on the show, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's, but if he leaves, I mean, like, there are people out there claiming that they think that Merle will be the next to be zombified.
Uh-huh.
What do you think?
I don't...
I can't do this on my own here. Give me something.
If that... I'm trying. I just said it. We had him on way too easy. Usually you got to deal with him and say, hey, I think Mikey had a little downtime, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I don't know.
Last week's episode, you know, they are filming. I think they just actually got done filming the final part of the season, so they know what's going to happen. Like we said, they have all the information.
Yeah,
but we should be talking about what we think's going to happen, Sean. What happened last week?
Well, that's what I'm getting ready to say. Last week. Now, at the very end of the episode, Andrea had decided to go back to the prison. She's going back to the prison. She's given in. She doesn't like the governor anymore. She found out he's a jerk-off. So she's heading back to the prison, and Rick he's on watch, and he has his sniper rifle. He sees her, kind of, sort of, but he doesn't know. He thinks it may be just another walker, because the governor sneaks up behind her.
He was sitting there thinking he was seeing things again. Remember, Rick has been seeing things.
Yeah, he's been seeing, crazy pants stuff, man. He don't know what's real and what's not right now. But anyway, governor pulls her down and holds her mouth, quiet, and then you see her at the end, and she's all tied up. So
just jumped over everything that happened in there. I mean, look at what she did. She actually tried to feed the governor to walkers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody has tried that in their group. Even Rick, when he was facing against Rick is the only other one who's fed somebody to walkers.
That's true. That's true.
You remember the young prisoner who he locked outside amidst all the walkers and somehow escaped.
But that was that young prisoner's friend, Julio or Javier or whatever, tried to throw walkers at Rick, remember?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that's not his first time, and I would have too. I think the governor needs to go, man, in a big way, don't you?
Well, I think it's escalating quickly, and you can't have a villain like that around too long.
You don't think so?
I don't think we'll be seeing the governor as next season's villain.
Really?
I think he's escalating to be too dangerous, too fast, and something's got to happen that's either going to wipe him out or force the prison survivors to move.
Well, there's not going to be another, there will be no shortage of enemies during the zombie apocalypse, because can you imagine how many crazies are out there? I mean, you know this. If the zombie invasion happened today and we lost everything, then we're going to have so many crazies on our hands. You would have to. What did Matt say? Remember when he came on? He said you would have to fight the dead, fear the living. I mean, that's how it would be. And that's true. And I think this show, The Walking Dead, why it's been so successful is people are starting to think about it. People are getting tired of government. They're getting tired of being told what to do. They're getting tired of the rich owning everything. People
if you look at it too,
are getting disgusted.
The zombies are no longer the threat.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies are just like the same problem you would face if this had taken place in revolutionary times and you were running from one camp to another with the fear that a bear or a mountain lion is going to jump out and get you.
Sure.
They're just part of the nature now.
Right.
It's the people that are the danger. The zombies are secondhand now. And you know how to get around zombies. You shoot them in the head.
You shoot them in the head. That's right. It's. I think though the reason this Walking Dead has been such an amazing thing is, of course, it's spooky, right? You got dead people walking around with their faces rotted off and stuff. But it actually, and I found this funny, Demon Hunter, because I was on a chat site for The Walking Dead. I was just scrolling through after the show. I watch it usually like twice on Sunday nights. Do you do that?
The Walking Dead, and then I watch The Talking Dead.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And then I watch Comic Book Man.
And then I
plug
watch
to you, Kevin.
Mysteries at the Museum.
Kevin Smith. Yeah, Mysteries of the Museum. Big plug out to Kevin Smith from Comic Book Man.
I don't watch that show.
Oh. Well, you might here in a couple weeks. So anyway.
No.
The thing I was talking about.
I'm joking.
The reason it's been such a great show is that I've seen people in this chat room wishing. Life has gotten so rough. There's people out there wishing for the zombie apocalypse. They want to wake up tomorrow, Demon Hunter, and not go to work and get their gun and be able to take out their hostilities on these Walking Dead and live their lives. They actually think they would be more free in a zombie apocalypse than they are now, free to live their life. And you know what? There is kind of something to that, if you think about it.
People who get upset when they lose power for 2 days due to a wet weather storm.
No cable? No Netflix?
Cable, no radio, no... You know, your iPod can't be charged up, and you can't call mom on the cell phone, folks. There's nothing.
You cannot do it.
No, it's ridiculous. These people who think that they'd be happier in a life like that. But the interesting thing I find about the whole aspect of The Walking Dead is, at this point, you could take the zombies out of it, and it would still be a post-apocalyptic film that you would be interested in.
Sure, yeah, but the zombie kind of act as Jaws. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Walking Dead tonight, what's going to happen, Demon Hunter?
Walking Dead tonight, well, we know Merle is facing the decision of whether or not to stick around.
Yeah, Merle's getting mad because people are kind of looking at him like a bad guy in a prison, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and I honestly think that they're pushing you to think that he's going to leave.
Yeah.
I believe that Merle is going to do something to kind of redeem himself in the eyes of the group tonight.
And I think that'll be his last act.
Yep, I think that's it. And then he's going to either be dead or gone.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't get rid of an actor like Michael Rooker just by him riding off into the sunset. Something huge will have to...
And again, they did just bring out the video game, so are they going to want to get rid of somebody they just put into a video game like that?
You know, I don't know. And maybe that's why they brought out the video game when they did, because I have the video game, and I made it to level 3. I never even reviewed the video game, Demon Hunter, but it's 758.
758, and we have to go because, Sean, who's up next?
Up next, Demon Hunter... Don Wildman, detective adventurer, some say real life Indiana Jones guys from the Travel Channel's Mysteries of the Museum, and he has such a past resume hosting shows that you guys just won't believe it. But he's coming on next, Demon Hunter. Are you ready?
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys, tonight's music, of course, one of our favorite bands, Soul Dog. Don't go nowhere, guys. We'll be right back.
wind. Till water from the tide. Don't know places that I've been. Well, I know for sure ain't no place left for you to hide, yeah. Well, I know for sure ain't no place left for you to hide. Look out. You're very gracious and thank you very much. Don't like where my friend works. He don't like it too. Spent 4 years in college, now he's just teaching that golden rule. Watch kids by the hour, get paid by the day. Trying to make his wits free, and wishing that he could stay. For those heathens and hooligans, you won't get the hell out of here. Follow someone else for a while now, brother, I can use a beer. Don't need you and I don't need this, so I wanna make this perfectly clear. Listen up, heathens and hooligans, you wanna get the hell out of here. Well, I don't like where I work. I waste my precious time. I'm working day in, sleep and day out, and I'm losing my worried mind. Running my poor ass back in, and I'm living from day to day. Boss man telling me what to do, just makes me wanna say to those heathens and hooligans, you wanna get the hell out of here. Follow someone else for a while now, brother, I can use a beer. I don't need you and I don't need this, so I wanna make this perfectly clear. Listen up, heathens and hooligans, you wanna get the hell out of here.
This is Mike Rooker, and you're listening to GhostMan and Demon Hunter Show. Enjoy yourselves. Oh my God.
That's right, guys. Welcome back, listeners around the world, to your Ghostman and Demon Hunter show. Hello, hello.
I do want to throw in here, Sean, that I had a lot of fun. Oh, I'm getting feedback. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, you are getting a little feedback there. He had a lot of fun, folks. That's all we heard. A lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun talking to Mike last week after the show. He definitely had a kick doing those recordings with us.
Yeah, he did. Mike was a great guy. You know, actually, guys, while we were doing the interview with Mike, his agent, his publisher, texted me, or emailed me, but I don't check emails while we're doing the show live. And she said, you hit that 30-minute mark, so we don't want to do that tonight, guys. So tonight's guest, we got a great one, guys. Don Wildman. Some say he's a detective, an adventurer, and some say the real-life Indiana Jones, guys. Host of the Travel Channel's Mysteries at the Museum. Brother, how you doing, Don?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me on.
You bet, man. You bet. Thanks for coming on this show. And I tell you what, we're so excited. And I've watched your program. I've watched all your programs, man. I remember back in the Weird Travels days.
That's right.
Yeah, we used to watch those, and I'd have the kids in front of the TV, and where's Don going to go tonight? And you did some crazy stuff, man. I mean, let's go back.
Back then it was all kind of ghost travels. Mm-hmm. And we would do a lot of haunted hotels and stuff like that. The funny was, there was one funny one that was up in Keene, New Hampshire. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, you sound great.
Think because we're going through two phone systems, we're getting, because you were connected to us through another phone system, I think we're getting feedback.
So there was a Keene, New Hampshire. There's a state college there. And there's a ghost apparently on the top floor of one of the dormitories. And I happened to live nearby that place in those days, since I've sold the cabin that we lived in. But I was telling that story on TV, and so I tracked down this place, and I went walking up in this dormitory, and it was as creepy as it was told on screen, which was just satisfying for me, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I did not see the ghost, but many of the students told me that in fact, they heard the footsteps upstairs and everything else. It just sort of validated the whole thing for me, which felt good.
Right. And that's what got you hooked on it, Don? Was that your first one?
You know, what got me hooked on it, and to be perfectly honest, bear with me, but it's complicated and interesting. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, I was probably 10 years old. I lived in southern New Jersey, and my dad he worked at a college nearby.
Right.
And so periodically these students would come over and be at the house. They worked for my dad, like assistants and so forth. And one of these guys had a dog that needed to be fed one weekend. And my parents were always looking for things for their kids to do and stuff. And so they referred him to me that I would take care of his dog, right?
Right.
Feeding him once a day or something like that. So he lived in the neighboring town in Glassboro, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And my mom signed off on the whole thing. She left the room, and the guy turns to me and says, listen, this is really nice of you to do, and I hope you understand the job, but there's one thing I don't want your mom to be scared of, but there's a ghost in the apartment. And I was like, oh, my God, what do you mean? And he says, he's not dangerous. He's kind of a hobo character.
Yeah.
And we've only seen him twice. He sort of looked out from behind the door one time over my wife's shoulder. Oh. And one time I was going up in the attic, and I opened the door, and he was sitting on the landing. He's kind of a frumpy guy. He's sort of not threatening, but you might just see him.
Yeah.
And I was terrified.
So you took the dog back to your house in New Jersey.
I was terrified and fascinated at the same time. Like, I said, okay, I got to do the job because I've signed on for this and I'm a good kid and all that. So I toddled over on my bike that Saturday morning, vividly recall this. My heart was in my throat. I mean, I was really terrified in the strangest way. And I crept up those stairs. It was on the second floor, opened the door, and went in, and there's the dog. And I just vividly recall, putting the dog and just waiting for this guy to come out any time now.
Right.
The anticlimax is I never saw a ghost that day. The importance of the story was I understood at that moment the relevance of all of this stuff, that we are terrified of this or fascinated,
yes,
but nevertheless passionate about it. And it's so important to history and to, more scholarly subjects, but at the heart of it all is this, visceral terror that we feel.
Well, you know what, Don?
I felt that day.
You know what, Don? I think that's what you captured with Weird Travels, and even today with Mysteries at the Museum. Here's what I see with you, okay? Because what you just described to me, when you run into a situation like that, I grew up in a house, a lot of creepy stuff. They said it was haunted. When you have something that happens that's out of the ordinary, paranormal, if you will, you know the smell of the place. Did you know what I'm talking about? The smell of history, the looking the unknown in the eye, all that craziness that you feel inside. I don't even know where you feel it, but you feel it, and you capture that, brother, and that's what you bring to the TV, and that's why people are glued to it, man. So kudos.
That's cool. Well, later on, I mean, I went into this, and I sort of sideways went into urban exploration from ghost travels,
Yeah.
I just happened to luck into a job with City of the Underworld on history, which was just this amazing traveling experience. And that's where I got in touch with the Cult of the Dead, all that story, all the stories of in Naples and Sicily, and all of that, which was so fascinating to those cultures of like the 16, 17, 1800s, where death was just around the corner from everybody's life all the time.
Yeah.
And so you see those in those cultures, it is so embraced, almost like a religion, certainly as part of religion, that there was this communication between the dead and the living. And it's very explicitly obvious in so many places, Sicily being one. Have you ever gone to those Capuchin catacombs?
No, I've been meaning to.
Yeah, we don't get around that much. It's
oh, okay. Well, that's what I'm here for. In Palermo, Sicily, there are these. The Capuchin refers to the monks. Okay, yeah. It was a religious facility, a monastery, and so in this period of time, it became sexy. Actually, is not the wrong word to use.
Right.
A status symbol to preserve your dead, dress them in clothes, and hang them on the wall until they just shriveled up like a raisin.
Yeah.
And became this cavalcade of the dead. That's underground there. By far the creepiest, most frightening thing I've ever seen with my own eyes. Right. It was just amazing.
You have never had to share a hotel room with Sean Burris.
There you go.
Hey, Don, we got
shrivel up like a raisin.
That's it. We got lucky, and we got to host our own television show there for like a year, and it was called Extreme Paranormal on A&E, and we got to travel around the United States. Nothing like what you've done, but we did go to some weird and creepy places. You would dig it, man, because it would have been perfect. We all tried to style ourselves after you, I think, didn't we, Nathan? They'd say, "Okay, Sean, you got to do this intro," and I'd say, "Okay, let's watch a YouTube video of Don real quick and see."
No. These were domestic sites or where?
Yeah, they were everything from. Well, we tried to go out of the way. Like we went into the Manchac Swamp and
New Orleans.
Went to the burial mound where all the people were just their bodies were dumped there after a hurricane.
Yeah,
and we went to a sunken town where Sean dove down to the bottom of the sunken town, and it was stuff like that. We tried to go places people hadn't been before. But one of the things that, I loved when you did your show, going back to the History Channel, was I remember, I think it was in Scotland, that you found that entire, city under the castles.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorite things, because that's something that a guy sitting at home in America, this was before Sean and I were filming, and had hopes and aspirations that may never come true. We're sitting there going, I'll never get there. That this is my chance to see it.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing when you start looking at places for that.
Right. And guys, real quick,
all these urbex guys do, and guys in the paranormal stuff, basically trying to find those stories that are not behind the scenes, but literally underneath of them.
That's it.
And I just love it as a lens of history myself. Because it's something we all share, which is in each one of these stories, death is right in the middle of the whole thing.
Yes.
And so right there, you're staring at your own mortality, essentially, and vicariously projecting yourself into this remarkable story, which always has this beginning, middle, and end, unfortunate or otherwise, but incredibly colorful story. It's just a story. It's somebody's life and death. But that's what we're doing. We're kind of seeing ourselves projected upon it. So every time I would go down and do these things, and still do, there's that element of the experience, is how do I feel in here? There was this amazing cave system outside of London. There's a lot of chalk under London, southern England. And I went in there with this guy who was an expert in witchcraft. His name was Ralph.
Okay.
And a very, very smart man. And this turned me around a lot. we were looking for witchcraft symbols, which were true and validated to be in there because in those days, of course, this is almost like Druid stuff. It was Christian times. But
I like that. I like that, Don. Ralph the Witch Doctor. Ralph the Witch Doctor.
Exactly. But in England, they probably use the word Rafe.
Right, Rafe.
It's not Ralph like we know. But anyway, we climbed all day to get to this particular depth of the cave and found indeed these evil eyes and these symbols that were meant to call the spirits to protect them. It was all a good witch kind of thing, good witchcraft.
Right.
But in the course of this thing, he told me that he had done a lot of exorcisms and also, what do you call it when you chase a ghost away? Like he would go to places in order to, I guess that's exorcisms, right?
Yeah, it's exorcism.
And
banishment.
I said, okay, Ralph, and this was after we shot all day, so we had a big connection, him and me. And he had my utter respect. I said, I want to know, once and for all, is it true? Have you seen things that I haven't seen that tell you that it's true? Because if you say it is, then I believe you. And he looked at me dead in the eye and said, it's true. And I said, damn, what is it? What did you see? He said, I've seen a teddy bear walk across the floor. I've seen a table move on its own. And I've seen a knife move across the table. Oh. And I was like, oh, man, that is amazing. And again, I have to give it up to him because I really bought into this whole thing. It was just not into hoaxing me. It wasn't that kind of thing. So these have been experiences I've had in the most unlikely places that have really straightened me up. Like, oh, there's something I don't understand.
Don, the thing with what you're saying there with seeing this stuff move across the table, I've been in places where I remember once I was in a theater. And I was literally taking my camera equipment down when I heard something move behind me. And I turned around, and the pots and pans and the stuff, the sponges and everything in the sink started flopping all over inside the sink by themselves.
No way, really?
And it always happens when you've got your camera off. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Don, I got to ask. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I can talk all day. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, we can't too. We got to deal with agents. No, I was. We got a question from the chat room. I guess I shouldn't have said real life Indiana Jones because here we go. It says, ask Don if he's ever seen or he knows the location of the Ark of the Covenant, or if any thoughts on where it might be.
I know where the supposed location is. I've stood outside the fence. It's in Ethiopia, and it's in a place called Axum. And it's a remarkable thing to see with your own eyes, if only the ritual with which they believe, they practice to protect this thing that is inside this building. Okay,
right.
You go to a place called Axum. It's not much of a place. It's a third world city for sure. It's a remarkable historic site that's about an hour north of Addis Ababa by plane. And there's a guy who stands inside this, I'd say maybe eighth of an acre property. There happens to be a small church in the middle of it, and this priest who lives in there his entire life from the point that when he's appointed to his death. He lives in that one. It's like jail. He lives there all his life but he volunteers for it because he's protecting the Ark, which is supposedly inside that building that no one will ever go in and see, and they will shoot you if you go in. There's a guy in a flannel shirt sitting on a little mound of dirt with a Kalashnikov there. And they make it very clear to you that if you did something stupid, they have the right to shoot you.
So don't take the kids for summer break. Okay. Note to self.
But if it's probably symbolic. They say that it's probably not the real Ark. But in every Ethiopian Orthodox church, there is an Ark of the Covenant. Not unlike there's a crucifix in every Christian church, or there's the idea, this symbology. So in order to hold that whole thing up, that whole story up, they have the real one supposedly in this one church. But you know what? They might. That's how much you don't know.
Right.
Now, when you were doing Off Limits, I was watching the episode where you were climbing on top of the scaffolding, the unfinished buildings.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever throw something at you and you just looked at them and said, "Really? You want me to do what?"
No, I got to be honest. That's usually my choices to do that kind of stuff. I was the executive producer of that show, and it was always it was always a good day when we found something being a bad, because, what we're trying to do is show the reality of the situation. And the reality was these places were always broken down relics and stuff. And that made it, it heightened the drama of the experience, just like it is in real life.
Right.
But I used to have a sound guy who was a dear friend of mine named Jamal. And he just would never do this stuff. So he'd stand off set, recording my sound, and he was just like, God, you're crazy. You are crazy.
we had a camera guy like that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We had a camera guy like that at the beginning of our series who didn't believe in anything supernatural. By the end of the series, he wouldn't go into locations with us anymore because we freaked out too much.
I know, it's so fun. The whole thing with the crew, I mean, people that watch the shows would have no idea or necessarily have the idea of what a family you've got when you're doing these things and how we all push each other. And that's a huge part of the experience that the television audience really doesn't see, because what they're seeing is the result of editing and producing and, of course, what happened live. But it's a whole other experience when you're with your 5 friends you're traveling the country or the world with and doing this thing. And that's the best part of the experience, really, and why I would recommend my career to anybody, because it's like great friends doing some cool stuff.
Don, it's funny you said that, brother, because did you know we might have been separated at birth, because you attended college at Earlham College in Indiana, in Richmond, Indiana to be exact, and I live and been born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. So
there you go.
I don't know.
A big day when we were in Richmond was to get to Indianapolis. It's not often enough.
Hey, I don't know if you knew it, but the Hoosiers won today. Big 16, baby. Sweet 16.
They beat my dad's alma mater.
Oh, no. It was close, too.
I'm from Philly.
Yeah, it was. I seen that. I was reading that in your bio. I was like, I don't know if I should bring that up to Don tonight or not, man.
I will say, I think that Indiana's going to win. I have from the beginning of the year. I mean, they're good, and they deserve it.
Well, President Obama picked them, but every time I watch them, they usually end up playing like they'd never seen a basketball before. So I was kind of hesitant to watch tonight, but they did it, man. They pulled it out at the last second. But
Syracuse will be their big test.
Right, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Next game, Syracuse. That's going to be it. But, Don, it's funny you brought that up because, you're looking for a crew. Listen, you got me and Nathan. We have all this talent,
Come on out. Come out.
It's just sitting here, baby, in studio.
It's very run and gun. I warn you, it's run and gun. Yeah. In all the shows that I've done, including Mysteries for the crew that's out there shooting, that's the thing about doing TV. It's a real adventure.
That's it.
I mean, there's some downtime that's not so fun and sitting in airports and so forth, but you shape the story as you go, that's the fun of it, as opposed to a film script, which you like, okay, we're going to do these 3 pages today. When you're doing factual programming, you just have to collect all the raw material that you can so that you can shape it in the editing bay.
Right.
And that's just fun to try to figure out what are the high points of the story, what's the way to heighten the drama if it needs to be, what's the best thing that's going to make people watch and learn.
That's it.
I'm blessed to be on one of the few shows, Mysteries at the Museum, with the word museum in it for one thing, that talks about stories that are not just paranormal, a lot of them are, but there's also historical and scientific and all kinds of stuff. And I can't believe that I had that good fortune to be basically teaching the stuff on TV and getting people fascinated. And the more it's on, which has been years now, the larger the audience grows. And I just take real pride in the fact that people are proving that they want to learn stuff when they watch.
Oh, it's amazing.
I got to tell you, Don, I was actually getting ready for this week. I've watched several of the Mystery of the Museum episodes before, but they've been playing almost every night this week on travel.
They're very successful. People really watch them.
I've been sitting there watching them every night. Well, last night I was sitting there watching it, and my roommate and my wife were both in other rooms, and they walked in and said, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching Mysteries at the Museum, getting ready for this week's show." And they went, "Oh," and they go to turn around, and they look over and go, "Oh, they're talking about the Donner Party." And that next thing you know, my wife is sitting down watching the show. And then my roommate comes in and goes, "Hey, they're talking about the Salton Lake out in California," and that he's sitting down watching the show. There's something for everybody on those shows.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sampler that way, and they, we go out of our way to do that because it really does keep the attention. It's the reality of doing TV that people have so many choices and a remote in their hands, and so you got to keep it moving and you got to keep them interested. So the 6-minute segments that we do tend to not tax people too much, but give them enough to go, I learned something from this. That's cool.
Now, I heard you call it a run and gun before, and for our listeners who don't understand that, that's usually when you have one cameraman, one sound guy, and the one person doing the filming, the hosting or whatever he's doing, going out and just literally on the move constantly. But a lot of what you do with Mysteries at the Museum looks like, you could be... It's not quite the same as when you were doing Off Limits. Where,
you know what I'm like? I'm like Rod Serling in Twilight Zone.
Yes, exactly.
It's
you're entering a dimension
of to be able to say that, but it's a different kind of show. I'm basically introducing segments and then narrating them. I have a lot of say as far as sending people to certain museums and looking at stuff. I'm always at museums myself. That's no lie, and so I can, as a result of being a guy on TV, make a call to a curator and say, "Hey, I'm coming to your museum," and that happens a lot, and that's the coolest part of it for me. I just like visiting these places and seeing what they have. The really neat thing, it's the only thing about Indiana Jones that truly refers to me at all, is that each of these museums, not unlike the end of the first Indiana Jones movie, has all these archives and all these boxes locked away and stuff.
Right.
So you're seeing the tip of an iceberg when you walk into any major museum. You're seeing, 1,000 of their 1 million artifacts. Yeah. And that's really cool.
You get to go in there and see those things we don't get to see. Could I ask you, you might have actually gone and seen this, and I just haven't seen the episode yet. Can I ask you to go find something for me? Because I'd like to see it, not just on TV, but I'd just like to see it.
Tell me what it is.
Locked away in the National Museum of Health and Medicine is the spinal cord of John Wilkes Booth.
Oh my God! Really? That's amazing. Tell me where that is.
I believe it is in Silver Springs, Maryland.
Yeah.
It's when John Wilkes Booth was shot in the neck, they removed the 4 vertebrae around the shot and preserved it, and it's locked away.
We did the John Wilkes Booth story just a few weeks ago, questioning whether that was really John Wilkes Booth who died in that barn.
Right.
That was.
But just recently, they've actually tested his brother against that spinal cord to see if it was actually him, and the results aren't in yet.
Oh, very interesting.
See?
Well, the story that we did on Mysteries, which, is another angle, is that there was a guy who died about 20 years later in Texas, I think it was. This is not coming to me, but... and he confessed on his deathbed to the guy who was his lawyer that he was John Wilkes Booth. And he had a lot of reasons to be able to say this. And, there's those times, if somebody burned up in a barn, you'd have no way of really knowing who it was,
Right.
They're burned with beyond recognition.
Especially back then.
And what's that?
Especially back then, Don.
That's what I mean, yeah. It's like, and they were only so happy to have caught the guy and be able to make a headline saying it. So you can see that whole thing slipping right through the cracks.
Right. Now, I got to say, listeners around the world, if you're tuning in right now, and if you're listening, of course, you can't see nothing, but if you're watching the live video feed, you see pictures of our friend Don Wildman, and it looks like he's strung up from a harness in some kind of a sewer, kicking for his life, and then you see a Travel Channel commercial for Mysteries at the Museum, of course, and that's Don's project that he's working on right now. We got some Crystal Skull pictures up, and of course our logo. So this is who our guest is tonight, Don Wildman of Mysteries at the Museum. That's his current project. Don, I was going to say...
I've been in so many sewers I can't even tell you.
That's what. See, I got this whole list, and we're already at 8:32 Central or Eastern.
And so is Sean, but he doesn't brag about it.
Zing! No, but I was going to say, Don. The first part of this comment was, take me and Nate with you, and we could be like those cats that go up and we opened the top of the ark, and remember in Indiana Jones, they exploded, but we could wear blindfolds, see? We could be your sidekick.
I actually, we laugh, but I actually recommended this to the network, that I would, meet somebody in every city that we worked in and just take somebody down. Insurance legal nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
resounding "No way, are you crazy?"
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, I hadn't thought about that. That's right.
The 10-page contract that just involved insurance in your packet that you got when you started. Should have been
the second off limits we ever did. We broke into a site, and which is what urban exploration is sort of all about. You're not going to do any harm. In fact, you're there to leave no footprint at all. These guys have very high standards on their behavior.
Right.
They want to photograph it so that when it disappears, it will still be there. So we did this whole thing, and we recorded the whole deal, and climbing through the fence and the whole thing. And it actually was a heart-beating experience where there was a security guard who would catch us. Our main thing was that it would just be so damn embarrassing. It wasn't any kind of threat to our lives or anything.
Right.
But we really hightailed it into this building. We did the whole thing inside. Everybody was watching out the windows, making sure the security guard. Anyway, it was great.
Right.
But that footage went back to the network, and they were like, "That's not going to happen anymore. We could get sued, and maybe you should edit this a different way."
Oh yeah,
that's what they don't like to show their hosts breaking laws.
No, well, that's what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the A&E archives, Demon Hunter, they own our soul, because I didn't know what we signed. We signed so many papers when we got picked up, man. So I'm pretty sure on my deathbed they're going to come visit some head executive.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shame what gets cut out, too, because I'm sure you have these things happen. Sean and I, the entire first half of the show, I was driving around, and he and our friend were complaining that I drove so slow. The second half of the show, he was driving, and he wound up crashing the car.
Oh, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Hey, listen, Don, you know how they strap the cameras, brother, on the visor right in your face? For those,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for those road shows.
The best of us.
And we got turned around. I went into a golf course, and I hit like a, I don't know, what was it, a 30-foot pillar or something? Yeah. And all these guys in goofy golf pants come running out.
But we thought it would be the most hysterical thing to put on the show, and they wouldn't use it.
I was a superstar.
Disappointing sometimes. It's stuff that gets cut.
Yeah.
I know. I would love to. It becomes a little prohibitive just because it happens a lot, But I wish I had a staff of people that just could collect like bloopers and all the out footage. That would be just so cool to have. But I mean, it's amazing how much it hits the editing floor in quotation marks.
Now listen,
Before
Big Don.
I want to tell your audience anybody who has never watched the show, Mysteries at the Museum, particularly your audience, would love this one story, which is Annabelle the doll. Do you know about that story?
Annabelle the doll. We were just talking about the Warrens.
There you go. The Warren Museum of the Occult. I mean, when I told this story, I was amazed that this existed. It's the story of that rag doll who, like, everybody who ever sees it with it outside the case has some horrible thing happen to them. And the fact that, people have died several times just carrying the thing around their back, their seat. That, and also the exorcism in St. Louis that we covered, and the fact that there was they have a cross of the hospital in which the exorcism that the exorcist was based on, was inside, is in this museum in St. Louis. All that stuff. And I am always just the drama of it and the spookiness of it, but the history, that even the simple cultural history that a major movie that I saw when I was a kid came from a real story, and that story is more complex and interesting than even what the movie told.
Now, Don, when you were out there last night, I was watching the independent movie that just got released by Danny Lutz, which was the stepson of George Lutz and the real son of Kathy Lutz, which, of course, are from the Amityville Horror fame. And
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's done an independent movie called My Amityville Horror, and the kids are coming forward now, or at least Danny Lutz is, and he's the one that got his hand smashed in the windowsill and seen all the flies upstairs get out and all that. They showed where you went. They showed the Warrens haunted museum, if you will, and they went in there, and she actually has a crucifix, she says, with a piece of wood from the actual cross of the crucifixion of Christ. Did you see that when you were there?
I didn't, but I mean, you go around Europe and there's like pieces of the cross everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't think it's not real. It's like these things get parsed out. But anyway, it takes you into history, and it takes you into a learning experience in a much more visceral way. That's why I think it's particularly valuable.
Hey, Nathan, before we had to go with Don, I know he's running short on time, but the zombie apocalypse, everybody's in the zombie craze, brother. I thought we'd ask Don about Jerusalem, one of his episodes, the apocalypse and the underground connection with that, because that was kind of a spooky one, Don. I think you looked spooked on that episode.
Oh my God! Can we talk for another hour? That's what you bring up Jerusalem at the end of the interview.
I did my homework, brother. Me and Nathan both did our homework.
Jerusalem is eye-wateringly amazing. I mean, everything about it is an incredible experience. I mean, that which you were referring to is Megiddo, right? Armageddon is from the word Megiddo, which is a town north of Jerusalem. And that's where in history, and documented and everything, that was the battlefield of everybody, from the Egyptians to the Assyrians. Everybody would meet it was like getting called out on the schoolyard. You'd meet for your huge battle in Megiddo. So it became the euphemism for Armageddon down through the ages. But yeah, I mean, it's not unlike in every devil movie, somebody goes to Jerusalem, and it's like the spookiest part of the whole movie, because that's where things get really serious.
Right.
Or it's true. You walk in
their apocalypse is serious in Jerusalem.
Sorry, I lost you there.
I'm sorry. I said they take their apocalypses seriously in Jerusalem.
Yes, I do. In Jerusalem, you really feel the gravity of history and the whole feeling of like these events did happen. Whether they are true as they've been interpreted down the ages, who knows? But they really happened, and this is where it happened. So all of those layers are there, and there's just no way not to be moved to that way. And that's what you're seeing seeing in my eyes in that story, was the sense of standing at the edge of what has been the arena for the most important spiritual, theological matters in both Christianity and Islam, and Judaism, of course.
That's it.
Don, I gotta say, I am really glad that you got back to us. We were so happy to hear that you'd come on. We wish we had more time with you, but we know you're busy. We have to actually get the show up for our fans.
Don loves us. Don loves us. He don't care. Come on.
Do it anytime. No, seriously, I can just talk and talk, and I'm blessed to have had, the last decade of traveling the world doing this stuff. So don't lock me in a room with anybody, and I'll walk out going, enough.
Well,
I'm going to ask you the one.
I have the equivalent. Sorry to cut you off. I am the equivalent of the name dropper at a cocktail party, but I'm always telling history stories, and people are like, enough.
I'm going to ask you the one question that everybody who works on the run in television has an answer to. Zycam or Coldies?
Whoa, what was that again?
Zycam or Coldies? Because when you can't travel that much and not get sick.
NyQuil.
So getting sick. Zycam or Coldies?
I'm going to go with the Zycam. Only because you just said the word I've never heard before, and I love that. I don't take medicine. I don't take any medicine.
Really?
Here's my theory about this, and I'll let you go with this. The common cold, or the infection that doesn't kill you, is the workout for your immune system. And if you can get through it in a couple of days, you're that much stronger to defend yourself against flu, cancer, and all the rest of it. That's my theory. So I think that if you treat the symptoms, you're in bigger trouble in the end.
That's it. Don Wildman, everybody, host of Mysteries at the Museum. Don, I hope we ask you some good questions tonight, my Indiana brother.
Ending on a health matter. Thanks.
See? That's a big one there. How many interviews you get like that, huh? See?
Exactly. No, I knew this would be fun. Thank you very much for having me. Call me again. I'd love to be on the show again. And we'll keep traveling.
All right, brother. Have fun. Go IU. Go Big Red. And we'll talk to you later, Don.
There you go. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, Sean, you know what? I'm really glad we got to do that with Don. I'm really glad we got to do the episode. I'm really glad I came on tonight despite the fact that I have pneumonia.
Yeah.
But the pneumonia's getting the better of me. I think I have to go lay down for a little while.
All right. Well, let's do this, Demon Hunter, and on a high note while you're still alive.
Yes. I don't want to be the talk of the next zombie.
Well, It could happen. There's the music. See, the outro music starting.
Well, that means this show is almost over,
That
Sean.
means a special thanks, Demon Hunter, from tonight's guest. You hooked it up. He got him in studio, guys. The Demon Hunter, Don Wildman. Right? Real life Indiana Jones, guys, from Mysteries at the Museum. Be sure to check him out. I think it's Tuesday night, right, Demon Hunter?
You know what? Like I said, I've been watching it every night this week.
You know what, guys? Use your computer and check out Mysteries at the Museum. Don Wildman, special thanks. Special thanks to Creations by Souls Design. That's soulsdenounce.com. Check that out. And, of course, music. Special thanks from Midnight Syndicate. MidnightSyndicate.com, guys. Thanks for everything. Hey, this has been another, from the haunted back roads of America, this has been another G&D exclusive interview, guys. And we'll see you next time. Don't go changing America. You know we won't. Hey, Demon Hunter.
We love you.
We love you. Good night, everybody.